everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Stripped by Sia, your podcast for strippers, sex workers, and all the fancy naked people in between. I am your host, Steph Sia, aka Kimchi on stage. You can actually catch me on stage for once. I'll be dancing back in my own old home club, the Penthouse, the legendary Penthouse, on Friday, December 6th. I don't have much information on that show yet, but it's going to be my studio's instructor and student showcase. So we're having it at the legendary Penthouse. So go ahead and check that out. You can probably check my stories in terms of like when ticket sales will go on sale. But yeah, at that point you can come chat with me in person. I don't know if I'll be selling dances that night, but if that's a thing, I will let you guys know more information in more episodes closer to the date, so stay tuned on that. I have been a sex worker for over a decade now, so I started off way long ago, back in like 2013, 2014, as a sugar baby, not really knowing what the hell I was doing. Then kind of started going into stripping. I started doing OnlyFans and fetish work. I am now a cam model on StreamMate. I'm also on Sex Panther and OnlyFans. So I am doing all the things, as I'm sure a lot of you listeners are also doing, kind of dipping your toes in all the platforms and all the things that you should be doing. So that's me. And I basically started this show about 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago almost, to talk about and to destigmatize sex work. Because as you know, our industry is highly stigmatized. There's a lot of people that don't understand it. There's a lot of assumptions that go around it, tons of stereotypes that are stem from it that just haven't changed. So I'm really hoping that this podcast will hopefully, perhaps, maybe may not change your mind, but will perhaps open your mind to the lived experiences of sex workers, what we do for work, provide a better understanding, maybe provide this as like a good resource for you if you're looking to get into the work. And I do that by bringing different guests onto the show every single week, including this week. I will be announcing who's coming on, unless you've already kind of scrolled and looked at the show notes there. But we are talking about well-being. We're talking about the importance of self-care today. We're talking about, personal stories. We're talking about coaching. We're talking about a lot of things. So the umbrella topic is well-being. What is it? How do we take care of ourselves, and how do we maintain it? Because, in this industry, it's a very, very much up and down. We will be getting into that shortly. I'm just going to go ahead and thank our Patreon subscribers. You can go ahead and skip a couple minutes up until the 5-minute mark if you're not wanting to hear this. But I just wanted to say hello and thank you to our lovely Patreon subscribers from all around the world. You guys really help a lot financially in terms of funding my website and enabling me to go to adult industry related events. That's exactly where your money is going. I'm always really transparent about where your funds are going. It's a fun little place, a nice little community on there in terms of other like-minded individuals who are looking to hopefully change or destigmatize the work as well. So you can find some really, really cool and neat bonus episodes on there. I just did a guest lecture at my alma mater, Simon Fraser University, talking about my experience in the work and also talking about current issues that sex workers are currently facing as of 2024. You can also find a lot of the upcoming topics I'm trying to source out for guests. You could kind of see and have a sneak peek of who's coming onto the show, video exclusive, like full video exclusive episodes on there as well. And you get the episodes ahead of time before anybody else, about a week in advance. So if you're interested, we have tiers starting as low as $4 a month, and you can go ahead and check it out. It's patreon.com/strippedbysia. And before I sign off on this little part, I just want to say hello to those who are on the top tier of my Patreon subscribers. You guys all get a lovely on-air fan recognition shout out. So I'm just going to quickly go over those. Just saying hello to Reina, all the way from Sweden. We've got Dale Flood, who's from here, Vancouver, BC, where I am at. We've got Snoo Snoo, all the way from Germany. guys are Eric Arajo, we've got Bia York, and Dan from Red Door Products. Hello and thank you. From Seattle, Washington, and we've got McKenna King from Edmonton, Canada. So thanks, guys, for subscribing. I know there's like a lot of you on the lower tiers as well, which doesn't mean you're not important, but third tiers get like a little extra love on the show for that. So thanks for bearing with me, guys. If you're hearing some little giggles here and there, that is our lovely guest who is patiently waiting in our virtual wings to talk about, as I mentioned, well-being and the importance of it. We've got Emma from the Imperfectly You platform, which we'll also be talking largely on as well, which is a platform for sex workers. It's an online community, which I think is, we need community so much in our industry. We're also going to be touching points on those as well. But Emma is one of the founding members of Imperfectly You. She's a cam model with over 25 years of experience. She holds a diploma in professional counseling. This is all the things I believe I might have found online, and you can correct me if I got any of these wrong. But we've got Emma here waiting patiently. She's giggling. Emma, warm welcome to the show. Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for introducing me, Steph, and for having me on the show today. Where did you find that information? I'm intrigued.
I don't know. I feel like I saw, I wonder if it was your account, unless it was not your account. Maybe it wasn't your account on Instagram, but like maybe it wasn't. And if I got anything wrong, please correct me right now. But I sleuth on the internet for a little bit, so on all my guests. But if I'd love for you to correct any information if it's incorrect, and tell the audience in your own words and your own terms, like who you are and what you want the world to know about you.
Sure. So my name is Emma. I am a life coach. I am a cam model, and I am the founder of Imperfectly You. So we are the online platform dedicated to the well-being of sex workers. So I don't have a counseling diploma, but I am a life coach. So
okay, maybe I just got okay. I was like, what are the same accounts? So like, maybe it's not. That's okay. I stand corrected. I will keep this in because I make mistakes sometimes too. But please continue with your bio.
Yeah, so I have been working in the sex industry for around, I would say, nearly 5 years now. So it was a COVID decision, like a lot of people.
Yes.
Yes, and I've not always been, and I'm not really a face out sex worker either. So this is quite new to me to come out and talk about the work that I do with my face, my real name. It's definitely been, it's part of my journey to do this project. Is so that's something I have to do. So so far it's not been too scary. and and everyone that has allowed me to share my story has been really welcoming. So when you mentioned then, something about community, and finding these spaces to feel our authentic selves, and to feel all parts of ourselves is so important. And I feel like this container and this podcast here today is a space to do that as well. So thank you.
You're so welcome. I am so excited to get to know you better today because obviously this is the first time my stalking skills have failed. But but I'm really, really excited to talk about all the things. And, the audience is always really curious in terms of like personal stories, in terms of
Yeah.
like how you got started and what was your
Oh.
motivation to get into the industry. And you can
Mhm.
share as much as you want. You can share as little as you want because I do respect you're mostly face in. But feel free to kick it off wherever you
Yeah.
believe your beginning is.
So my beginning. All right. So I used to work in a really high pressured, like B2B sales role. And I did that for so many years. I've always worked in sales. And I used to sit at my desk every day and think, this can't be it. This is not filling my cup. And money had been a driver for so long. And then when it no longer interested me in this role anymore, I was like, ugh, what am I going to do? So I had been doing CrossFit personally for a good few years. Okay. And I had actually started doing CrossFit to manage my well, I would say completely get rid of my OCD that I'd had since I was about 5 years old. So I had intrusive thoughts, and the only thing that managed to completely keep them at bay was when I found CrossFit in my mid-20s. So this to me was like a revelation. I was like, oh my God, I found this tool that is so, imperative for me to feeling well. How can I help other people? So, as you know, CrossFit is a bit of an addiction. You
Yeah,
might
and
be
it's hard.
It was so hard. And I decided to retrain as a personal trainer. So whilst I was working in this B2B role, I would go and do my personal training part-time for like 2 years. I did this to try and get some clients and things like that. And I finally made the jump to quit my job and go into the gyms. It was 3 months full time in this gym. COVID happened and shut all the gyms down. So
Yes.
I ended up moving from a city in England back to my very small town in Scotland where I grew up as a child. And I hadn't been back there for many, many years since I was a kid. And I moved
Wow.
back in with my mom and dad. Yeah. Like a lot of people did, we all
Mhm.
thought shit's getting scary out there. So where do I need to be and where can I feel safe? And moved back in with them. Anyways, I realized that I was getting £50 a month for the government because that's what I was entitled to because I was a self-employed personal trainer.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't know what to do. I just don't know what I'm going to do. And I found out that my friend she'd kind of like disappeared from speaking to me for a couple of months over lockdown. And I thought, she's up to something. What is she doing? I messaged her and she said, I've been doing this thing. Okay. And she sent me the website and I was like, oh my God. All right, I'm going to try. So I sneakily tried it. And within like, I don't know, half an hour and made so much money. Like it was crazy. And I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to keep doing this because I need money and I don't like to struggle. And, money makes me feel like money and stress are so related. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
they're intertwined so
Completely.
much.
And I just thought, I'm just going to carry on doing this. And then that was it. It was just like dollar signs, This
Mhm.
money was just driving me and driving me and driving me to work. And then before I knew it, my interest in the whole personal training thing had kind of been put on the sideline because I was focusing on doing this work because I would go back in. I think when COVID kind of came back around and they did start opening the gyms up again, I moved back to the city and kind of went back into my job. And I thought, they want me to sit here and clean this machinery in the gym for what, minimum wage an hour, when I could be at home working for 1 hour and making what I'd make in God knows how many days, you know?
Totally. I get you.
So, and it was kind of, at the time, it was really scary for me to feel that way, to have this thing that I was so passionate about in my life, this exercise thing, that I was somehow now not driven anymore to do that because I was kind of what I like to call in the golden handcuffs. You know, these, oh,
I
well,
can
I love
relate.
money, so I'm going to do that.
I get you
You get
completely.
me? Like literally the golden kinky handcuffs. So there I was, pursuing that, and didn't. I quit my job at the gym, and I kind of like had this weight over me that I was doing this role, this new job, and I didn't want to tell anyone about it because I was definitely worried about what people would think of me. And I had all
Mhm.
of these circles of friends, in the city that were gym friends, that were friends from my previous work. You've got all your family and everything on social media. And I just wanted to crawl into a hole and not let anyone ask me any questions about what I was doing and how I was surviving. How was I making
Mm.
money? I don't want to be that person that's posting all over social media about my life and able to afford things because I'm going to be questioned. And that kind of drove me to feel very isolated from the start. And
Mm.
I think there was a big disconnection after COVID too, even though you were kind of allowed to hang out with your friends and that people were still in their bubbles, and I just felt so alone because I didn't have a partner. I didn't really have anyone around me. I have my friends, but it wasn't the same as before. People weren't
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, come and hang out at my house. It just wasn't like that. So I decided to, one day I woke up, I thought, I've had enough. I am applying to move to a tropical island. Got out all of these applications. Like, I think there was, where was there? Like, think of all these tax-free islands, those kind of places. And then,
Oh, yes.
you know what I mean? I'd applied to a lot. And then Barbados was like, hey, you can come here. So I eventually moved. I just sold my car, got rid of the house, and then moved to Barbados within about 3 or 4 months.
Oh my
So,
gosh. That's wow.
yeah,
Crazy.
I have all this money and I don't have anything to do with it right now. So I'm going to go and live the life, the dream life, what I thought was the dream life.
Mm.
And I made a point to tell myself when I move here, I'm going to tell people what I do because I just want to feel free. I want to feel
Mm-hmm.
like me. I want to be accepted just for who I am without any questions, me having to hide things from people. So when I first met my new group of friends out there, being able to just say what I did without any judgment from those people was like game changing for me. And
Wow.
it really like took a weight off of my shoulders, I think, that I'd
Mm-hmm.
been carrying around, for over a year.
Yeah. Emma, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
In terms of like you packed up everything and you moved to Barbados. That sounds so amazing and lovely
Mm,
as I'm here like rubbing my arms. I'm like, I probably need a sweater soon. Um I guess like, planting new roots in a new city, a new country. Um, why did you feel more obligated, or maybe I'm just making assumptions, but like um perhaps you felt more comfortable telling this new group of people because you didn't have any personal connections or
yeah,
like roots with them? Is that like why you might have felt more compelled to tell
definitely.
them?
Definitely, because,
Yeah.
it's like take me as I am, not on what you think I've been before. So if
Mm-hmm.
I'm just coming at you now with this, you're not going to be shocked because you don't know me and you've got nothing to judge me against. Does that make sense? Like,
Of
oh, you
course.
used to
Yeah.
be that person and now you're this person. So yeah,
Right.
that definitely had something to do with it.
Yeah. And I guess like with those feelings, like in terms of like friends and family and people that you knew in the CrossFit community back at home, like
Mm,
you were just scared in terms of like how they might have judged you or like why are
yeah,
you changing and like
yeah.
you weren't this person before kind of thing. Is that
And people like
right?
to, people like to talk, people like to
Yes.
gossip, and
Hmm.
that will never change. But I think when you are so worried about people finding out, you amplify the spotlight on you, and it is
Hmm.
called the spotlight effect. We kind of talked
Oh.
about this recently. There's this thing where we have this bias towards thinking that everybody is looking at us because we're doing something, either right or wrong. The spotlight is on us when quite often you might be the source of conversation for a few minutes. People get over it and they're concerned about themselves.
Interesting.
It is. Google
But it's
spotlight
true.
effect. It's really interesting. Yeah. Um, So yeah, so should I carry on with the Barbados
Of
part?
course. Yeah, I was gonna say please continue with the Barbados part of the story.
Yeah, so I moved there, and like I said, I told people, my close friends, but sometimes that can be uplifting, but it can also be really dangerous. Barbados isn't sex worker friendly, and um, I talk about I talk about obviously like the I guess the way of the local people is that, and the local communities is that is not really a thing. That is not really something that's openly spoken about. Sex is definitely not openly spoken about, um, and it's generally not a safe place for women. I will say that is my own personal experience. Not a safe place for women. So I think someone had actually, this is a little bit of a long story and I'm going to cut it short. And I will say there is a little bit of trigger warning here for anybody who may have been assaulted or anything like that. But you know, I remember I was there for 2 weeks, and I'd had a really busy first couple of weeks, and I was going to bed in my Airbnb, and I locked my door. So it was like my own entrance, overlooked like the pool of this block of apartments. I locked the door, and the door was, and all the windows have bars on them, you know, because that's what it's like in the Caribbean. And I went to sleep, and I woke up at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and though I was dreaming, and I saw this person like stood next to my bed.
Oh my gosh.
And I sat up, and I was like, what's going on? So I went to touch the person, and they were real. And I
Oh my God.
honestly was, I, it's like about to scream. Just went to switch the light on, and the light came on. I saw him. He was completely naked.
Oh my
And
God.
he had his hand on my hand, and he like switched the light up. He was like, don't scream, don't scream. So I'm sat there. For some reason, Steph, I had like full pajamas on in a tropical country. I was like buttoned up. And I thought, I've never been so grateful in my life to be wearing clothes when this is happening. And I just thought to
Wow.
myself, I'm going to be raped. So I just need to kind of start processing that now and try
Yeah.
and, just accept that that might happen. So I said to the person, um, why are you here? Why are you in my house? How did you get in? And he said, I'm looking for the girl that works online.
Oh
I'm
my
looking for the
gosh.
girl that works online. Um, and he gave me this strange name. I said, I have no idea who that is. I don't know who you're talking about. He said, you invited me here. You invited me into your house. And he said, I met you in Bridgetown. I met you in the city. And I was like, I've never been to Bridgetown. I've only just got here. And I could see that he was kind of like not all that. I don't know if he was on drugs, potentially on drugs, just like not really
Yeah.
with it. He was like covered in tattoos, like head to toe, and just really kind of, I think if he was if he was 100% himself and not necessarily under the influence of anything, he could have been very intimidating. But because he was kind of slow in his actions, I was like, this person could maybe be convinced, to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said to him, I said, okay, please leave. I won't call the police. I won't call the police. I won't scream. Just please leave. And I was like hysterically crying. And he kind of like, once I convinced him that it wasn't me and I wasn't this person that worked online, he took his tiny little t-shirt that he had in his hand and he went above the kitchen cooker because it was all in, I was sleeping in all kind of in one room. It was a studio. And he just wiped down the window of his fingerprints and kind of like slithered out. The window was this size.
That's
And it was the
crazy.
only one that didn't have bars on it. So he slid out, right?
Oh my God.
And then I called the police, and the first thing they said was, why would he come to your house? What do you do as a job? And they basically kind of, made out that it was my fault for this happening. So
That's
when the police,
terrible.
it's so bad, isn't it?
I'm so sorry, Emma. That is awful.
It's awful, but like at the same time, I'm so grateful because it could have been so much worse. And
Yeah, of
yeah, like
course.
I just thank my lucky stars. And so I called the police. They came to the apartment. Like I had to run up 3 flights of stairs outside to get to the main road. So when I get to the top of the road, the police are like, calm down. And they're just walking so slowly towards me. I was like, okay, I'll take you down the stairs. So I took them down the stairs, and the guys stood naked trying to get back into my apartment at the door.
No freaking way.
They chased him.
No.
Honestly, they saw him. As soon as they saw him, it was like, she's not lying. She's not actually lying. This man exists. And they chased him through all of these gardens in Barbados. They couldn't catch him.
Oh my
Then
God.
the final part of the story is that the guy who owned the Airbnb came down to tell me that he had found him sleeping naked in the bushes outside my apartment for over a week.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is
So,
terrifying.
so what had he heard? I was
I
camming in that
know.
room,
That's crazy.
isn't it?
Oh my gosh, I am chilled by that story. That is so scary, especially like you're in a new country and like everything is new to you. You weren't there for very long. You said you were there for like 2 weeks at
2 weeks.
that point.
2 weeks, yeah. And literally, like, I didn't have a single sex worker friend to talk to.
Yeah.
And that is
Wow.
really scary, yeah.
That is super scary. I mean, coming out of the story, first of all, I don't want to say like, I want to say that the way that the police dealt with that whole situation is awful and like totally you were re-victimized again, like, which is terrible, and like they didn't believe you, and it's just awful to hear that stuff too. But like, how did you come out of that whole ordeal and like even be motivated to work again, to want to stay in this country,
Mm,
like all these feelings I'm sure you were probably thinking in
yeah.
your head
I
too at
kind
that
of
point.
felt like there was a part of me, not only did that happen, but there is an issue around if you are working in a foreign country and you are camming and you have to be loud with your work, if other people hear you, you're going to get backlash from that. So there wasn't only just the one place that I had people saying to me, what's going on in there? Or you're doing this or you're doing that. And it's things you don't think about because you've been camming in your bedroom back in the UK for so long and nobody's ever heard you, that you continue to do your work in other places, in a place that maybe has very thin wooden walls and shutters, not double glazed windows, and people can hear. So after that, I had something else happen to me and then something else. And it really did put it really made me feel uncomfortable working in that country, but I had to survive and I
Mm,
had to live. And
yeah.
I think along with the isolation, I developed some really kind of escapism. I think it was. I was doing half the work. I mean, probably less than half the work that I had been doing in lockdown. There was no
Hmm.
motivation because one, I was quite scared.
Yeah.
Two, I was like dealing with this feeling of being alone in the industry by going out all the time with my new friends. And when you go
Mm-hmm.
out, you drink, you don't get
Right.
sleep, you know? This all has an effect on your well being. Like all of these things, these habits, these coping mechanisms have an effect on how we can,
Function.
how we can function. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my
So
gosh. Yeah. That
it
would
was
take
a
a toll
really
on you for sure.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, the sunshine when you have a tan covers up a lot, but
At least
really,
you had that.
I was still gymming because the gymming is the only thing that I never stop because it really is like medicine from a mental health. So as I was
Absolutely.
getting little sleep and partying a lot, but I was still going to the gym. And then basically, I was there for a few months, and God, this is such a long story. I'm going to hurry up. So I was there for quite a few months,
You're
and
doing
then
great.
I got a phone call from my sister, and she told me that my dad had suddenly passed away.
Oh my
So
gosh. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
yes, it was a really
One thing
weird,
after another for you.
mhm, really weird time, and I'm really close to my dad. My dad knew who I was, what I did. He was always very supportive as long as I was safe. And
Hmm.
yeah, so I flew home. And then that's when everything started to change for me, like my direction.
Mm.
What am I doing? Why am I really had to question, like, I have been given one life. What do I want to do with it? For one.
Hmm.
And I think something around, what was I going to say then? It was something about why was I living in a tropical country and ticking the boxes of what makes a happy life and still not feeling happy?
Mm. Yeah, those are really good questions to ask yourself because it's a lot of things that we can be doing. Like, yeah, sure, this, as you mentioned, like ticking off the boxes, but like, why am I just feeling content right now, but not feeling like true joy, true happiness from that? So I guess you were
Mm,
questioning yourself a lot during this time amidst all of these I guess experiences that you had happened, plus like with your father's death, I get a lot of things were just coming to head, which made you reevaluate and reflect, I guess, your purpose a little bit.
Yeah, that is totally what it comes down to. Like, we can be blinded by the golden handcuffs and they can lead you down a certain path. So it's like, I really had to start, when I got home, I said to my mom, I was like, I need to sort this out. I need to sort this out. I need to figure out what I want to do because my motivation has gone. Why? So I started reading all these books, and then I was like looking inside, and I was like doing all these exercises and reflections and trying to understand what made me tick. And it really, I started to think back to this time when I was so passionate about exercise and working with others and helping others. And I remember doing this little thing, like it's like a thing I found in a book to try and basically understand what your values are. And one of mine was meaningful work.
Yeah.
So, work that supports the well-being of other people basically is what makes me feel alive. And so then I was like, right, okay, I need to research this more. And then I kept looking into like, what does this mean? What does meaningful work mean? What could I do as meaningful work? And then I thought,
Yeah.
looking into like therapy and all of these different things. And and then I remembered before I became a sex worker, I had a life coach, and she had she changed so much for me, in terms of she gave me the confidence to leave my business role and go into full-time PT and personal training.
Gotcha. During that chapter, during that
That
era. Okay.
chapter,
Yeah.
yeah, she really helped me, understand these limiting beliefs, these blockages
Mm-hmm.
that I was putting in my own way to stop myself moving forwards, and that I really had limitless potential.
Right.
My universe could be expansive. It could be as big as I wanted it to be, but I was so used to keeping myself in this box. So when I worked with this person, I was like, okay, this had such an amazing effect on my life. I actually had to stop working with her though, because I started sex
Oh. Oh.
work. And I didn't
Mm.
have heart to tell her because she was someone from the gym.
Oh, dang.
Mm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, why didn't you go back to her again? That's what the connection was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personal.
So I thought, okay, I'm going to retrain as a life coach then, because there's got to be people out there like me who are sex workers who would love to talk about their future, but don't know who to speak to.
Yeah, that's a thing. If I can say, like, again, without judgment, without any kind of assumptions and stuff
Mm,
like that, because, like, as you mentioned, there's so much isolation in our work. As we know, there's also, like, obviously a lot of stigma that comes along with our work too, and it can be very unsafe, for us to disclose to certain people. We don't know who to trust as
yeah.
well. So many factors which make it really difficult for us to reach out to folks when we are in these vulnerable states or just, like,
Mm.
stuck in a rut and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess this is the next chapter for
This is
you.
this is the next chapter. Yeah. So
Hey everyone, it's Carly David. I'm the founder of PS Group. We're the creative marketing agency for sex workers by sex workers. We get it. Things are changing fast. Standing out in this industry is tougher than ever. But whether you need a killer website, eye-catching graphics, merch design, pro-level video editing, we got your back. Our fees are totally project-based too. We never work on percentages or commission. Visit us at sexworkmarketing.com, say hello, let's start a conversation, see how we can navigate these changes together.
So I was thinking I'd love to coach sex workers. Now, when I talk about sex work, all right, I still do it. I'm not leaving the industry. I'm not saying that God, I wanted to replace my sex work with this other work. They are intertwined, and sex work gives me a lot of freedom, and it gives me a lot of funds to do the things I want to do. And I do enjoy it, It's like any job. Some days you want to do it, some days you don't. So
Totally.
my point here is not that I am saying, God, I'm going to help people change their future. Your future might be sex work, it might not. It depends what you want. So, so I thought I'd love to coach sex workers, and then I was thinking, wait a minute, life coaching charges about, I don't know, minimum $100 an hour, and I thought I need to do some research. So we ended up sending out a well-being questionnaire to, I think it was 50 people in the industry from across the globe, to fill this in and to look at different aspects of well-being and understand where people are at and what are the things people are struggling with, what people can't afford.
Yeah, that's another barrier for sure.
And it was just so apparent that the scope of earnings is from one spectrum to the other. It's vast. Not
Yes.
everybody earns a lot. So I was like, this isn't going to work. I cannot coach people one-on-one. I need to think of a new way of doing this where we can keep the cost as low as possible and help as many people as possible. So, what does that look like? And then I thought, oh shit, this is a really big project. Then I went and got another coach.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. I went and got another coach. And
Wow.
actually, I know this coach because Leah from Pineapple Support
Yes.
has
I love
always
her.
been really, really, really supportive of like helping me with, she lets me write blogs and stuff. And she's been really supportive of me as an independent life coach from the beginning. And then she said to me, I've worked with a coach in the past. I said, Leah, I need to speak to this person. Where is she? She said, she lives near me in Ibiza. I'm going to give you her
Ah,
details. Yeah. So
yeah.
I started working with my coach about a year ago now, maybe, about a year. So this is when we started doing all this research, what can we do? And so I guess it became not just about the coaching, it became so much more than that. And at the time, I had been trying to set up, whilst I was doing my life coaching qualification, I was online all the time reaching out to sex workers, I'd never done this before, I'd never really gone out there and sought out community on my own. And I started to put on these, I used to call them like sex worker hangouts. And
Oh, fun.
yeah, they were like, I just advertised them on Instagram, and then people would reach out and say, I'll come, I'll come, I'll come. And I met so many interesting people at these hangouts. We'd meet on Zoom and just talk about anything that has been going on. And, we all work different parts of the industry and we just chat. And that was, again, so empowering and just so like, okay, this is just a normal job. If you can find your people and know that everybody else is getting up, going to do sex work today, and it's not like this taboo thing in your world, then it just becomes so much easier to get up and do it. It's not like
Totally.
you're fighting against this feeling of, I need to hide this. So
Right.
do you know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Mm.
I understand. I also used to run a engagement group as well with sex workers here in British Columbia in my province,
Oh,
within an organization that I sit on the board for too. So I understand because it's just nice to hear from other people's experiences, because like your group too, there's so many different areas of the industry that
yeah.
we're all working in, and it's a very humbling things to kind of hear about, but also just be in a judgment-free space where you can just freely talk and you don't have to worry about like, oh my God, who's going to find out about this, or
Mm,
like who's listening to this or whatever. You can just kind of chill with like-minded people
yeah.
who are on the same page as you. It's
Yeah.
very freeing.
Yeah, and like, people just get it. No one else is going to know no one can relate to your day. as a cam model if they don't do cam modeling. Like,
Right.
I know.
And those days can vary.
Totally. Yeah. So we started doing the hangouts, and then I started developing Imperfectly You, and we started seeking out basically the right tech, the right platform that we could use to do all the things that we wanted to do in it. And it just began to grow. At first it was just a community. I was like, we're building a community. Because I had been involved in other communities, Telegrams, WhatsApps, Reddit,
Yes.
Discords.
Lots of
And
those.
there's lots and lots of communities out there, lots of sex work communities, but I wasn't impressed, and I didn't feel safe, which was like a big thing for me. Like, I didn't feel like I could be vulnerable in those places. So, because quite often, you do have shitty days, and you kind of maybe want to reach out for support. But if you maybe post something on these forums, you have hundreds of thousands of people on the outside and on the inside of sex work, but also certain people who, aren't very helpful with their responses.
Right.
And it can come across as quite, I don't know, bitchy, or
Yes.
just too blunt for what that person needs right now.
Yeah. There's no degree of care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've seen it. I know.
I have seen it. I understand. You're like, that is not what I
Helpful.
was looking for, but
Mhm.
that sometimes makes me feel even shittier.
Yeah. I agree. And I think that was the main thing that we wanted to be different, was that we wanted to create a space that you could be soft. You could be all parts of you. You could have a bad day, but that no one's going to be telling you just buckle up, and get on with it or whatever. It's kind of it's a safe space to explore how you feel and be who you are without any judgment. So that's the baseline. The number one rule is, kindness to ourselves and others at all times, and it's everywhere in the platform.
I
So
love that.
yeah. Oh, you'll have to see it, Steph. You need to pop in and
Yeah.
have a look. I'd love to know what you think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would love
I'd
to
love
take a
that.
look because, yeah, I've been in other like Discord groups and,
Mm,
Facebook groups and stuff too. But I
mhm.
do get like, I don't know, some of the groups that I'm in on Facebook can be like really, claws are out. And it's just a weird thing because I just don't ever find any like, personally, I just don't find competition.
Yeah.
I don't think sex work has to be a competitive thing, but in some of these groups or threads, it can be I felt like pitted against each other,
Yeah.
and it's not inclusive in that kind of way.
Mhm.
So it'd be really refreshing to have something that's like
I'm gonna add you. I'm
nice.
gonna add you today, and then you can check it out. You can come and join
For
us, and
sure.
I'd love that. So, I guess I'll tell you. Shall I go into like maybe what's inside?
Yeah,
Is that
tell us, give us a sneak peek. We'd love to hear about the different features because like I'm sure people that are listening are probably wondering, okay, well, how does this really differ from like a Discord group, a Facebook group,
yeah.
Telegram group, stuff like that, or forums, Reddit and stuff. Like we'd love to hear like what those differentiating features would be.
All right. So we start off with the community. That is the foundation of everything that's inside. So we have community, events, support, and education. So these are the four things that we like to cover, which all amplify and help towards personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
You first need a space to be able to feel yourself and to feel safe in order to build on any blocks, make changes, do the things you want to do, explore who you are. Um, so we find that creating that safe environment is the most important thing. So we have community, and then we obviously have forums. The ways to interact are forum spaces. We've got daily chit chat spaces. You can DM other members. You can start group chats inside. So you've got that aspect. And then the educational part is like we have a forum called the Thrive and Grow Hub. And this is a daily feed of educational content that goes out Monday to
Cool.
Friday. And we have a different theme every month. So
Oh,
the
fun.
first, yeah, it's so creative inside. Like we kind of just make it what we want. But the format that we follow is a monthly theme. So
Mm-hmm.
I think what was last month was hormones and mood,
Mm-hmm.
and we've done self-awareness and communication. This month is called living your truth. So
Mm.
all around authenticity, dealing with the judgment of others, stigma, and we have some really exciting events every month that tie into those themes. So you've got
Cool.
so you've got the forums, which is like a place to ask for advice and support. You've got places to make friends, to connect. This is all just on the messaging part of things. Then you have the
Mm-hmm.
educational part, which is the Thrive and Grow feed. And then we also have, like I said, these events. So the events are a huge part of the platform. And the
Okay.
first event that we have, which is like a weekly event, is our community circle. So the community circle is basically our answer to life coaching, that we can
Mm.
basically help as many people and support as many people as possible, you know, with this coaching hour that we've created. So I
Wow.
went through a few different ways of trying to understand how to do this. And
Mm-hmm.
life coaching, I don't know if you've ever had a life coach before, but it's kind
No.
of on you know, the idea is that we each know the answers to our own problems and challenges, and we know, only we know what's right for us. So
Mm-hmm.
life coaching you'll never be given advice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's providing the space for you to be able to think freely and openly. It's very rare that we have this time to think about our own lives in that way because we're always so busy. So at the coaching
Yes.
session, at the coaching session, you get partnered with one other person from the community from across
Mm-hmm.
the world. And you basically, one person starts as the thinker, one person starts as the listener. And there is a really easy set of questions, solid coaching questions that you can ask one another to help think out the box. And
Mm-hmm.
it creates so much change and support and things. Like change really is the theme of this event. Things are always different by the end once you've had this time to think, and you've also listened to what's going on for other people. There's so
Right.
much to learn and hearing the experiences of others.
Absolutely. I think that's really great. I think that's so nice that you guys have a space for that. I lied. I actually did have a coaching session before for a company I used to work for. I can't say I had a positive experience about it. I just
Mm,
can't say I did. Like, it wasn't great for myself in terms of some of the takeaways I had received from it. I felt like it was an advice giving machine. And some of the advice was great, but some of it really didn't align. Like, I just feel like the coach didn't listen to me really, and like what I prioritized in my life. And like,
mm,
it sounds so easy for them to like, oh, well, why don't you just quit your job? Or like, why don't you just do that? I'm just like, well, I can't, because I can't afford these things, or like, I still need to make money and I still need
mm,
to kind of have that balance and stuff too. But I've also had like other people that I know that have had great experiences with coaching as well, in terms of like giving them direction in their life, kind of prioritizing things for them,
mm,
or like making the path like a lot clearer for them, which I think is awesome. And I feel like how this can relate to sex work. Like, I just feel like sometimes we do need some direction and a bit more focus and a bit more like love when it comes to that area of things, because I feel like, with our careers, it actually, like with money, as we said at the top of the episode, it really kind of can dictate what we do with our lives, as much as, unfortunately, I don't want to say that money makes the world go round, but it certainly makes things a lot easier.
yeah, it does.
For
It
sure.
does. I think it's really interesting. I think there's many different types of coaches out there. There are coaches that do give direct advice, but the way that the way that I have been trained as a coach is to absolutely not be not do that kind of coaching. You know, it really is let's get you to know what you want to do by questioning these things. You know, like the list of questions are really good. You can't go wrong. It's like if you've never ever done coaching before and you come to this session, all you need to do is ask the other person. Even 2 questions can open it up so much for someone because they've never been asked those questions before about what's going on for them.
Yeah, I think that's really great too. It's that, like people have not been asked these questions. They've never thought about these things themselves or never like looked at it from that perspective. So I think
Yeah.
it's really enriching to have experiences like that. And you mentioned that these events are how often?
So
They're
they're every
once a month?
week.
They're
We have
every
them
week. Oh my
every
gosh, wow.
week. Yeah,
That's generous.
Community circle is every week, and you can bring anything. So we say you can bring just a space to talk. You might not want to be coached that day. You might just want to sit with another person and be like, wow, what a week, or something really strange has happened, or I want to just talk this through. Or you might want to use it because you're experiencing a challenge. You know, something might be in your way, or you want to know what your next steps are. There's something you want to achieve. You know, when we say the things we want to do, we are so much more likely to achieve them. You know, say it out loud. That's the first step.
Absolutely. I think that's so cool. And I think like the way that you're doing that in terms of like you getting paired up with someone too, so you actually feel like you have that the one-on-one kind of thing that's a bit more intimate, as opposed to like I've also like heard of other groups too. It's like it's a group coaching session. We're all gonna hop on Zoom, and like I just feel like those can be really overwhelming, but also like I don't feel like I'm gonna get the time or
You
the
know what?
care around that.
You've just honestly brought something up for me, because I was only thinking about the wording of the coaching event today, and I thought, is the word group right? I don't think it is. I think it might actually be working in partnership with someone. It's partner coaching, isn't it? Really, it's intimate,
Definitely.
and it's one-on-one. It's not come and talk about everything to the group. It's we've partnered you with someone, so it's very different. I'm going to get back to you on that one. I think I need to change my positioning a little bit.
I'm glad I'm unlocking some things for you too, Emma.
Learning. I'm just completely changing my business direction now I've spoke to you. No.
Question for you, like in terms of the coaching sessions that are weekly that are happening,
Yeah.
every week you're paired up with someone different, or is it you going?
Yes.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So it
That's
swaps
really
around.
cool.
Like depending on who comes, we try and mix it up so you get to meet new people every time.
Right.
And that really does help people make friends. That's how. And there's just the feedback we get from these events is all I can say is it's beautiful. Like it just is so. Yeah, it's such a needed space, and I'm just so glad that we can offer that. So that is like the base, the recurring event that always happens. All right, and then we have so many other events in the community. So a lot of the people in the community are work in the wellness industry. So they might be coaches, therapists, they run special Instagram accounts specifically for sex workers. Everyone in the community is a sex worker, and a lot of the people in there provide services for sex workers anyway. So I started to realize this, that there's so many people out there doing amazing work, but not everybody knows about them. And how do we find out about those people, and how can we bring them to a much bigger audience? And that's why we've kind of been collaborating with lots and lots of beautiful members from the start. We've had there's been so many people, but like I said, we have like an Ask a Therapist event, we have like nervous system regulation tools event, meditation events. And I'm going to give a shout out is S Wellness, Maddie DeLuna, you've got Nick's Therapy. I've probably forgot somebody, but there's been lots and lots of people that have gotten involved, and it wouldn't be what it is, without those people helping and contributing, because a platform won't exist without contributions,
Of course.
Yeah, so really, really grateful. But we have, so like I said, every month we have lots of different themes. This month we have 3 awesome interviews with out and proud sex workers talking about what living their truth means to them and their journey of live kind of like, I don't know if it's living fearlessly, but it's just living, being, I'm mixing my words here, but they all have something in common. It's like not only are they out, but they're kind of trying to, I guess, something similar to what you're doing, Steph, is changing this perception of who sex workers actually are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that because
Mm.
it's so diverse, our community, right? There's so many different faces and like, people different living different lives and, it's all over the place. So I think it's really a good way to challenge what we think a sex worker might look like or what we think
Yes.
sex workers do and stuff too. And I
Mm.
like that. I like that a lot in terms of like speaking your truth and just being authentically you.
Yeah, but the thing is, obviously, there's a lot of people that, including myself, have found it so difficult to do that because we need to
Mm-hmm.
recognize that it's fucking scary and it can be dangerous. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, we have we'll be talking about a lot of things this month, and then next month we have rest and rituals. So
Mm-hmm.
the whole theme is around rest and rituals. We have a really exciting event coming up with Temple Erotica, which is like something along the lines of ancestral divination. So
Oh,
calling
cool.
in our ancestors who may have done sex work too. Some kind of like
Mm-hmm.
a healing ceremony. I haven't got the full details of it yet, but I'm just super excited about that. Um,
Really cool.
yeah, so it's a really creative space. So if anybody is working in the wellness industry and they support sex work, they are a sex worker, and you have something that supports sex workers, let us know because we are always happy to host it. Um, yeah, I'm
So cool.
always happy to host.
I will send a couple people your way because I think
Yes.
some sex workers that I know that I've worked with before, like, hey, like pass my name around or like I want to get involved in such and such,
Oh
and
my
it's
gosh,
kind
yes.
of hard to tap into some parts of the
Mm,
community of where that is offered or where that is
yeah.
allowed. So
Mm.
I will share some names with you after we
Oh,
stop
that's so
recording.
exciting. I love that. Yeah. I
Quick
really
question
just
for you,
love,
Emma.
yeah,
Like,
please.
in terms of like, because this platform is for sex workers and kind of for sex workers as well. But like,
Mhm.
how do you? Is there any kind of like vetting process for like those that are signing up and stuff too? In terms of like verifying that you actually are a real sex worker,
Yeah.
not some like creepy dude or
Yeah.
unfortunately
Yeah.
some fans that want to try to infiltrate.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So everyone is verified by me personally,
Mhm.
and
I
we
love
do
that.
it at the moment through basically checking adult work links and kind of cross-checking,
Mhm.
So if let's say somebody has an OnlyFans, I and I can't get them to message me from that OnlyFans account. I need, how long has the OnlyFans account been going for? Do I
Mhm.
need a Zoom interview with this person? We take it very seriously.
Good. Yeah, yeah. Because I love people are scared, and like obviously we're so protective of our community, and there
Yeah.
are some bad players out there that
Yeah.
might be catfishing or something
Hmm.
or wanting to get inside knowledge or whatever. But I
Hmm.
think like the safety of our community members is something to definitely take seriously.
So seriously, so seriously. Yeah. Yeah, I take, if it takes time to get people verified for that reason, then so be it. Like we can't have anybody in there that's not a sex worker.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna maybe explain a little bit around gender as well, just
Sure.
so people know who's actually who we cater for at the moment.
Hmm.
So it's female identifying, assigned female at birth, or non-binary. So this
Hmm.
is the yeah, this is the type of person that we welcome in at the moment. That's not to say that might not change in the future, but that's just for now.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's good to know. And how do people like access the platform too? Like, is there any other barriers of access that way? Or like, I love to hear about that as well.
Yeah, so there is a on all of our pages, or Instagram and everything, there is a join us button. So if you go to this join us button, you will get met with your profile. So the profile is basically getting you to fill in the things we absolutely need, which are your adult work links, confirming your age. There are a few things that are musts and others you can fill in later. So once we have that information, once we know, we can cross check things, I reach out within probably 24 hours via email and via message on the platform to let you know what next steps we need, or if you've been approved. If you've been approved, you will get a unique link to join, which means you just access that and then you're in.
Yay.
Yeah.
Super easy. Super
I
simple.
try and make it really quick. I'm like,
yeah.
Day. Who's there? Who's there? Yeah. I'm wondering if there's anything else that I have forgotten about. I do this all the time. I think of the things and then I forget.
It happens. Is there like a monthly cost for this one as well? Or like how does that structure work?
Yeah. So it's 30 days for free. And then right now we're $9.99 a month for life.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
That's such a great, like, accessible price.
It's like a
Yeah, that's
coffee, isn't
great.
it? I don't know, in the US,
Yeah.
like in Canada.
The coffees I drink, yes.
Bougie ones.
Bougie ones, for sure. That's awesome. I love that. That's approachable pricing as well. Like, in case some folks might need to drop off or like won't be able to afford it that month, are they able to stop payment, or is there any kind of process for that too?
Yeah, I actually need to look into that because I think you can pause and then come back. So yeah, I'm actually pretty sure that you can. We are so new from launching that is something I will check out. But I think that
For sure.
So yeah, where we're at. Is there any other questions actually?
I mean, I'd love to hear some feedback from like from your members and stuff
Oh,
too, how it's
yeah.
been received so far and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear just like real people's responses in terms of like what their experience with Imperfectly You has been so far.
Okay, so let me have a
Let me
look.
go down the list.
Imperfectly You is like a pause on our daily hustle and grind, a space where you can be all parts of you as a sex worker, to feel uplifted and supported, but not be logged into that work mode mindset. It's a refreshing community where we hold space for each other, help each other grow, learn from each other, and have each other's backs.
That's so nice.
I know.
I
And
love
then
that.
who's the other one? We get a lot of feedback on it being caring. It's a caring space. So I felt so alone in this industry despite being in previous groups. This group just feels so different. The people that I have met and spoken with or heard speak have been so wonderful and validating. It's a really caring platform, and I found it so vital in being able to continue working in this industry.
Oh my gosh, that's so nice. I love
Yeah.
to hear this stuff. It's awesome. It just shows again, just about the good work that you're doing for our community. we need
Oh,
more spaces like this, right?
honestly, I feel like if I had this when I started 5 years ago, my experiences of my life would feel so much different, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish that was around too when I first started like the industry when I was a sugar baby, because I felt like
Yeah.
so alone during that time. I can't tell anyone about this, and I can't even celebrate with my big wins or like a big
Mhm.
client and stuff like that. Like, I just wish I had something like this
Yeah.
before back then.
Yes. I know. And then I think everyone needs Imperfectly You, not just sex workers, but it's only for us.
Well, it's nice to have something that's just for us too, because
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
important to
totally.
do
It's
that.
like, God, we have so many plans. Like, I'm trying to work with a DJ right now as well to try and I will really want a monthly set to be playing for us. We're
Fun.
working on lots of things.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, you'll have to keep us posted on like any other future events and stuff like that too. I'm sure we can, if you pop into the platform, we can kind of see what's upcoming and what events are, that you should probably attend as well.
So we tend to promote, if anybody signs up to imperfectlyu.com and goes to the mail, you can sign up to the mailing list that will keep you updated. Join us on Instagram. Everything is promoted on there. So it's, should I say it now?
Yeah, now's a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, promote all the links and stuff right
It's,
now. It'd be awesome.
at imperfectly_you platform. Yeah, that's the one. It's so long because obviously somebody else had Imperfectly You.
Of course. It's always like that.
So Imperfectly platform, we are on Twitter as well, but I'm not as big on X. Like I'm more of a visual. As you'll see, our Instagram posts are really visual. So I'm usually on that. But the main thing to do is if you are a sex worker, just join for 30 days and come and check it out because there's so much going on inside. We are at the point where we're on the journey to trying to interpret what we do inside on the outside, because it is a secret community and it is private and we don't want to expose identities. So, I mean, when you're in there, you'll see we record every event if we can. So if there's no audience participation or anything like that, we have a full events library. We also have a full self-discovery library too, which has so many resources in it. Contributions from therapists, journaling exercises, values exercises, and that is just going to keep growing and building so that we have all these amazing things inside to help us just grow and, be on the path that we want to be on.
I love that. Yeah, people will have to definitely check it out. I'm going to be plugging those links in the show notes below if you guys haven't already been curious and have already been clicking around already. Is there any way to get in touch with you as well, Emma? Did you want to plug any links, or if you want to keep it hush-hush, it's totally fine.
No,
but
it's
up
good.
to you.
You can definitely reach out to me at info@imperfectly-you.com or send me a DM on Instagram. I'm pretty good with replying on there. And I love speaking to people. So if you just aren't sure if we could work together in some way, reach out. And I'm always up for a Zoom chat because, yeah, it's better that way.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. It's like putting a face to the name and, just more personal that way, which is awesome. I mean, this has been great. I love everything that you were saying today. The platform sounds amazing. And also just like, thank you so much for just being vulnerable today and sharing your stories and, coming on here on screen with me and being able to demonstrate that vulnerable side of you and just being able to share a lot of your story today. I think that's also really important and, really helps paint the picture of like why you want to start Imperfectly You. So,
thanks.
Yeah, it's been an incredible hour with you, Emma.
Thank you for letting me just talk. Honestly, I didn't stop.
It's okay. I love guests like you that love to just keep talking. It's wonderful. And hopefully everyone listening at home also had a great time and have had some really great takeaways with this episode as well.
Yes.
For everyone else listening at home, it's new episodes every single Sunday dropping at 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you want to get in touch with myself, you can do that on X. It's Stripped by Sia. On Instagram, which is Stripped by Sia Podcast. You've already heard my Patreon. It's patreon.com/strippedbysia if you want to support the show financially. And if you don't mind doing some homework, if you want to rate 5 stars on Spotify and Apple, I would love that. It really, really helps with other people discovering the show, of those who might need it. It's all free resources for you. And that's pretty much it. If you're looking to get on the show, you could also check out my website, strippedbysia.com. And there's a nice little contact button there that you can go ahead and fill in all the fields there as well. I'd love to hear from you. There's lots of great, really, really great new episodes that are coming up this season, which I'm super proud about. So feel free to do your due diligence there, and it'll be another new episode next Sunday. And Emma, thank you so much for joining me today and helping us learn more about Imperfectly You. I'm hoping that you'll get some good clicks on there as well for those who really, really need it. So, and everyone needs it, honestly.
It's a fun, nice place. Yeah. Everybody come in and say hi. We'd love to see you.
Awesome. And thanks so much for joining, guys. I'll see you all in for another episode next Sunday. You're listening to Stripped by Sia, hosted, produced, and edited by Steph Sia. Music by Ted D. Graphic design by Maria Bellandarama, and photography by Ian Dabrin.